Okay, all right. Now I move on. So the big question that comes to the mind of everyone, why do you want to, or why are you interested in studying abroad? Just type something if you can use the microphone to talk, but if you feel okay to type it in the chat box to, I want to find out from you, why are you interested in studying abroad? That will be the springboard for the conversation. I want to hear from you, everyone who is able. Just say something or type something. Why do you want to study abroad? Why do you want to go outside of your country to a different country to study? Okay, say Ruben, for scholarship and get employed there. Okay, that's good. Who else? Okay, I think to explore and learn more about other cultures. Right, that's cool. So moving off from this as a basis, let's go. These are, I mean, legit responses to the big question. Now, your questions are validated by this, I mean, next slide. Why study abroad? Most people want to get access to world-class education system and resources. Yes, obviously, one thing you cannot, go without talking about is the accessibility of resources and the top-notch education system. Because even though you can't take away from the fact that our educational systems, those of us who have been able to get the opportunity to come here, our education background has given us the opportunity to come up here. Right, precious, got it. So once we get the basis, you can feel that there is actually something missing. So yes, you want to go out there and explore these kind of opportunities. And yes, they are very true. When you come here, you are able to see the difference between our system and the system here. Not to mention that everything is perfect here like heaven. No, that is not the case. Don't put it at the back of your mind like that. There are also some challenges with this system, but on the average, you can say that you are experiencing something a little bit better than back home or what we have been exposed to. Also, to help you to boost your career opportunities and employability, as some of you have already mentioned, that the opportunities in getting employed after education here is vast compared to our system back home. So undoubtedly, you cannot take that one also out. For your own personal growth, when you get the independence and the global exposure, because when you come here, you are meeting with different people from different cultural backgrounds. And I want to tie that with the next point of networking and lifelong connections. Whilst you are meeting to learn from the people, connecting with them, and knowing what they also bring on board, you can see that you are maximizing your potentials for a global exposure, because you come here, you meet people from the Asian countries, the Australia countries, other African countries, and all the other. You can see that every continent is found here. So how they do their things, how they talk, how they go about things is also something that gives you that kind of exposure, and how you are also building yourself as a person is also paramount in this journey. Yes, you are very good. You are very right in such points to consider to study abroad. Now, the other question that comes to your mind, should I go? Is it necessary for my career goals? Am I financially prepared? Do I have the support system? Am I emotionally or culturally ready? All these things are questions that you should ask yourself before making the journey. And of course, some of them are important. For instance, is it good for your necessary for your career goals? You should consider whether it's necessary for your career goals or not. Maybe you are well to do, so you think that it is not important. So be it, that's fine. But there are others who are still not, satisfied. They see that no, there is something missing within themselves in terms of career preparation or career aspiration that they need to go for. And in terms of financial strength, there are other people who wish to go or further their education even back in your home countries, but you are not financially sound to continue your education. Therefore, it is important or it's worth it to explore these other avenues outside of your country. And you also ask yourself emotionally and culturally, are you ready? Of course, when you come here or when you travel abroad, don't expect to have these kind of challenges because it's not all rosy as may be exposed or as people may express to you. Expect that you will be touched somehow emotionally or culturally because you'll be homesick. You want to get your home food to eat. You are not getting your fufu, your eba and other food that you mandazi, chapati from the Kenyans. You are not getting them. So how are you going to cope with the system here? All these things are important considerations to ask yourself emotionally. In especially those of us from Africa, you know that ours is a communal based kind of culture that we live in. But when you come here, it's kind of individualistic. You are always everyone is moving here and there. It's important to consider. Are you also the person who always depend on people for survival? Then you should also then consider yourself, am I going to get that kind of support that I need if you are always dependent on people? So these are worth questions that you should ask yourself. Okay, now there are also other considerations like cost and yes, you need to find out that the cost involved in embarking on this journey. Of course, yes, you find scholarship or what we typically say assistantship, but there are other small costs that are involved in the journey before you finally land your assistantship. Ask yourself,
Now, I live for meeting house. I no want disturb. Now, you find me. Open door.
Dennis, can you mute
I live for
yourself?
meeting house. You will not know about it.
All right, so that's these are some of the important considerations. The tuition and living expenses. The living expenses and the tuition fees are what we call the attendance expenses. That's how. So ask yourself, will I get visa? How is the visa like? Especially in the current situation, current dispensation, a lot of things are going on. There are a lot of visa and international laws being made. Almost every week, you hear a new regulation coming up. So all these things are important considerations that you should consider. So I gave a tip here that always calculate the total cost of attendance. Total cost of attendance is the first point here, the tuition and living expenses. These are most of, especially what we call the total cost of attendance, and mostly the school will give you. So don't worry yourself asking me to explain. It's about your school fees, your here we have different types of fees where we have it's but let me use the Ghana case for instance. In Ghana, you will say maybe something like SRC dues after paying your school fees. But in the United States here, when they are talking about school fees, it is not actually the school fees what we mean in Ghana. Here, the school fees is referring to what we will term back in Ghana as the SRC dues, something like that. So that is what it includes your entertainment, your gym, your maybe buses fees, and some of the insurance. All these things they are packed as part of your school fees. That is different from the tuition fee. So the tuition fee is also likened to the Ghanaian system of school fees. So know the difference. That's how it looks like. And most of the your scholarship or assistantship do not cover the school fees, the American school fees, where I'm telling you that consider the Ghanaian, what we call the SRC dues. Most of the scholarship they do not include that. So you will pay out of what you'll be given on a monthly basis. So these are some of the things. But in totality, all these things come together to make what we call total or cost of attendance. Take note of that very well. And so always when you are considering the financial burden, look at that total cost of attendance. It's important. You should also think about scholarships, assistantship, loans. Benefit versus risk. What are some of the benefits? We have already talked about there are that global perspectives of benefits where you will meet a lot of people from different cultures and the exposure that you'll be given, and that's important. There is also employability. And most people, you obviously, and that potential, there's that higher chance or probability of you getting employed as compared to maybe back home. So that's also important thing to say is one of the benefits. And also networking. I mean, you get exposed, you get connected to different people from different countries, different cultures, and when you need some links here and there, who knows who is very important, also paramount here in this system. Who knows? When you Dennis, I think I muted. Prof, can you please mute Dennis?
Yeah, for a reason I'm not able to mute her own. I don't know what's wrong
Really?
with the settings. You can go ahead. I'll send her a test to mute.
Okay, so these are the benefit that you consider, that higher chance of global perspective. And also there are some risks that you should also take into consideration in terms of some things like debt. Yeah, you can have debt if you don't manage your finances well, because some people come with maybe some percentage of fees, percentage of scholarship or awards. You come, maybe you have 70% of scholarship, 30% is on you to cover. So you need to consider that one too. Those are risks that you can potentially meet. And if you don't manage your system well or your finances well, you stand a high chance of being in debt. Also, adaptability. Are you able to adapt to different cultures and the struggle? I suffered a lot for my first 2 years when I did my master's in Indiana because of the harsh weather. They always cold there. Where I am currently in Georgia, it's not that much cold compared to the Indiana weather. So I feel very comfortable here, and I also get the opportunity to play soccer and other things. Back in Indiana, I was struggling always here and there, having stresses and depression. I got into depression. Like I tell you, these are some of the things that you should consider. You are human beings, so obviously things come up. It's life. It's part of it. But you need unmet expectation. When you are coming here, sometimes when you don't get here, we have a lot of things in mind. We think that when you come here, the common notion that when you come here, people think that the dollars are on the trees and they are falling like that. So whenever you go to abroad, you go abroad, a lot of people are asking money from you. They think that the money is on the ground or on the street like that. And you come and you are always taking out your tongue like that. Oh, this is the reality. When the reality down on you, and that's how it is like. So some unmet expectations are just bound to come. That's what these are some of the risks that you should consider. Yes, we are still not done with the question. Now let me ask you, what do you consider in choosing a program when you are to choose a program for study abroad? What do you consider? Yes, type again in the chat. What do you think are the important things to consider when you are selecting a program of study, or you are choosing a program to study outside, whether Canada, US, Australia, UK? What are some of the important considerations? Yeah, Reggie or Regina or Reg, your question will be addressed in the during the question time. Your opportunity after graduation, your career path, and your interest, okay, career alignment. Right, great. I mean, these are important things that you are all talking about. Yes, so we go again. You have to think about the point that this program that I am taking, I have the strength, okay, and I am interested in that. It also aligns with your goals or your objectives. What do you want to do in life after graduation? What do you want to be? Like what people will say, the American dream. What's your American dream like? Or what's your UK dream like? How's the Western dream? How is it like? And so you should ask yourself, does this program really align with my dream? And do I have that capacity to do it? Most of you just go into programs. Oh, I've heard that when you are into cybersecurity, you can do, and you choose cybersecurity. Meanwhile, you lack that coding, whatever things of that nature practically. You will struggle. Ask yourself that, is it just because you are just going with the flow or what? Ask yourself of where you want to be and how you want to go, and if you have that strength to really do it. Ask yourself of these things. And also your academic versus your professional orientation. What's your bachelor's or what you hold currently in terms of your academics? Did you do education? Did you do business? And so where do you think that the program that you are trying to do or you are trying to apply to, does it match with it? Does it have any link? Because when you are applying, all these things are taken into consideration in the admission assessment. Okay, when they are assessing your material, they look at it that are these documents or do your materials, your professional background and your academics match with the program, our program? That's what you should think about. And what did you get for your bachelor's or your master's if you are going to PhD? Those with masters going to PhD, or those even currently some people can go straight into PhD with bachelor's. You have to ask yourself, do they match with it? And beside that, is this where I want to branch into? Some people can branch into another area. Sometimes you maybe you did business, but you find yourself into maybe educational administration. Okay, you did business administration. Now you are into educational administration of the business, but there's a link. There's some administration in there. Okay, so ask yourself all these things, these questions. Is it that, okay, now I wanted to go into banking, but I found myself into education. Now I found interest in continuing into or continuing to be in the education system. What aspect of education system when you move from business administration to education administration, okay, education administration, what have you found to wanting to go to read further into? Okay, because maybe you didn't have any education background. So now you want to make that journey of really solidifying yourself in education. So Dennis, what is going on? So Dennis, if you can hear me, please mute yourself because it's distracting the presentation. Okay, please. So these are some of the important considerations. They don't just dish out the admission like that. Please take note. If there is no linkage between your academic background, okay, or your professional, most of the important considerations are that one, my academic background, I did this, and I have that, I want to continue into that. Or maybe you did this academically, but the work you are doing now is not in the area of your academics. Therefore, they can have that consideration because you have had an exposure, an experience in where you are going. These are some of the legit and important things. So you don't just branch into an area because you want to branch into it for nothing, for no reason. You should have a legit reason for wanting to go into where you are going to be. Because when you are doing the what we call personal statement and other write-ups, these are the important things you will write about. Okay, so consider those things very critically in deciding on a program of study. How about also consider the issue of your long or short term? How are your short-term career look like? How does it look like? Maybe I want to do this, and at the end of the day, I want to be a university professor, or I want to go into administration, but ultimately I want to how I can combine administrative roles, or how I can translate, I can move from administration into professoriate. Okay, these are some of the things that you should consider as prime in selecting a program. So when you are researching a program, what are the things that you after considering? There was one thing that I think I didn't talk about here. Also, when deciding on a program, ask yourself, will this program get me a funding, scholarship, opportunities? Those are important things to consider as well. Because at the end of the day, if you are like some of us who do not have anything, our finances are not good in our background, then you one of your prime things to consider is funding, scholarship, or we say assistantship. So those are some of the prime things to consider. Let's come back to researching a program. What are things to look out for? Ask yourself, is this program accredited? What is the reputation of the program or of the school? Most times, the United States system education, the most important thing is the university accredited, not about maybe I want to go to Harvard. That is not the prime thing to take into consideration. But the prime thing is that if you are going to Wichita College, that's Wichita College, you've not heard about it, but it's accredited. Do they have funding for me? These are important things. Is their program rich? What are the important things to consider? So ask yourself, curriculum and specializations. Ask yourself, how is the curriculum look? How does the curriculum look like? When I'm talking about the curriculum, we are talking about their program structure, the whole program. Okay, the entirety of the program is what we call curriculum. The content, the everything, how it's structured is what we term. This getting these feedbacks. Please, those of you who are kindly mute yourself, okay? Because you are really distracting me. And also ask about, consider the faculty. When you log into a website, look at the faculty, what we call professors or lecturers in the program. Look at their background. Are they from the program? What are their expertise? What are their specialty? Okay, those are the important things to look out for. And also look at the opportunity to have internships and research. Okay, if especially those considering the PhD, look at the research component or the opportunities to engage in research activities. And obviously, almost every program has that component of you doing internships and practicum. Okay, those are important considerations. Now, what are some of the other practical considerations? Admission requirement. Obviously, you ask of yourself, what is the admission requirement? Do they require some tests like IELTS or TOEFL or SAT or what? What are they requiring? If it's in the area of business, what are they requiring? Ask yourself of that. What is the requirement in terms of work experience? There are some programs they will not allow you to translate straight from, maybe if it's a PhD program, after your message, you go and do it. No, they will not allow you. They will not. They want you to have practical experience before you come to their PhD program. There are some schools like that. I remember that one of my guys who completed Iowa State University, his professors told him that, no, you need to go and have a practical exposure. Go and do some, maybe 1 year of work, then you come back. So they didn't give him admission unless he applied to another school where he got the admission. These are some of the things that you should consider. GPA, what's the cutoff point? Yes, so it is also important. Sometimes there's a cutoff point, like maybe they are considering a GPA of maybe 3.0, but you have 2.9. You can write an email to us to the program coordinator about your situation. But with that one too, you should complement, or you should have that complement of good working experience, or you have written any test to I mean to boost it, to push it. You don't just write to her, to the program coordinator. Oh, at my bachelor's I had 2.9 GPA. No, no, that's not how it works. You should have some supplements like a good working experience. You have worked in the area, so you think that this experience coupled when you can push that with your 2.9 or 2.8 GPA. That's how it works. Okay, those are important things to consider. Also, look at the location. Where is your school located? Maybe you don't like too harsh of an environment. For instance, myself, the cold was really killing me. I was always having headaches and those kind of things. It's always like you don't feel comfortable. For my 2 years, I was really suffering. I suffered a lot. You may not want to go into an area like. You also ask about your safety. There are some areas that are people consider not to be too safe in terms of racism and gun issue, violence. So ask yourself, which area, this area, will I be safe as a foreigner? You hear about even in Canada, some lady, a lady who was standing at the bus stop and a guy shot him. Like some of these things are, they are things that come to our mind. It is like it's important. You have to consider yourself which area is good for me, okay, or which state, or which area or school is good for me. That's important. Also, ask about consider the program duration. Are you okay with the program duration? If it's masters, is it 1 year or 2 years? If it's PhD, is it 3 years or 4 years? Is that good for you? Also, learn about the learning mode, in person, hybrid, or online. Most of obviously you go for in person. Okay, those are the things that you should consider. You should also look at the program. What's the career prospect? Okay, look at the career prospect. Is it industry demanding it locally and globally? How is it like? If you read a program, mostly I try to align yourself with program that will give you a higher, okay, chances of getting employed. If it's in Canada, you don't necessarily have to be in the US, but if you go to UK, you get a job, or in Canada, you go to a job, or even when you go back to your home country, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, wherever, will you get employed? These are important considerations, okay? But don't try to do programs that are very, very limited in terms of demand, okay? That's my advice. You should also look at what has been the alumni stories in terms of the program. Where have the alumni or the students that graduated from the program, where are they? Where have they been working? It's also important to consider. And the professional certificate and licenses, yeah, that comes with the program. Those are also important to consider. That's important. And the pathway, whether it's in academia or industry work, that's important. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in academia, or do you want to work outside of academia industry? Then that will inform your program of study. Okay. So with this part, Professor will cover that. So I will want to skip it and then go to so finally, how do you make your final decision and your choices? Compare three programs and take note. Searching for programs, professor will take you through how to search for programs and schools. You should know that it is a work. It's a whole work on its own. Okay, it's a work. It's a duty that you need to commit. You need commitment, time for it. When I was doing mine, I used to do mine deep in the night. So when I close from school, I'll go and teach as a teacher. I'll go and teach. I'll come back and sleep. So whilst some people are sleeping, that's where I'm also doing my work. Okay, as these are some of the you need to know that it doesn't just come by chance. It's an intentional thing that you need to do. So compare 3 to 5 programs options, okay, and look at their prospect. I am doing this program, I pick this program from here, I pick this program. So the same program, look at that maybe from different schools, or even if it's not the same program, but look at your certificate. What are some of the programs that can qualify you, okay, that you can go and read with your certificate? And in these 3 to 5 programs, are they giving you funding? Which schools are getting easy to get into? Okay, so you need to consider that one. You balance your passion with practicalities. Okay. Oh, I want to go into cybersecurity. But practically, are you good? Are you a tech savvy? Are you good in technology? You don't go and worry yourself and torment yourself, brother or sister. Look at where you think you can also have an upper hand on this program you are going to read. Okay. Sometimes you go and read a program that you are always confused, you are always frustrated, headache, you are getting mental health issues. Don't go and frustrate yourself. Okay. Look at where you think you can also learn and handle well. Consult with alumni of the program, okay, and seek for mentors. Look at people from the program. There are always definitely almost every program there are African students that have come to read the program. So you get people to consult with, okay, and let them take you through. Learn to see that your program align with your vision as well as finances. Are you going to get funding? That's important consideration. Right. So at the end of the day, what are some of the takeaway? What are the things? What am I really trying to tell you? Be clear on why you want to study abroad. Have a purpose. It's not that everyone is going, so I am also going. No, it doesn't work like that. Is that your plan A? Some people are too desperate, so they are giving money to people. Relax. Try to work on other things. Have options. Okay. So that whilst you are going through this journey, you can do other things. For instance, I did my first masters back in Ghana. I was teaching at a training college, teacher training college. I wasn't so desperate, but I was still working on it. So I told myself that if I don't get the chance to go by a certain year that I set for myself, I'll start with my PhD back in Ghana, because you have to make progress in life. And so it shouldn't always be that if I don't go to US or if I don't go to Canada, then I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. You are always sitting there doing nothing. No, that's not it. Please. Also, choose a program that matches your goal. Where do I want to be? I can be in this area. That's one of my interests. I can be in this area. That's also one of my interests. But ask yourself, are this program helping me to reach my goals, my potential? Plan for cost and funding. I've already told you. Check for the funding opportunities and how much it's going to cost you. And then finally, I would say that talk to an alumni, a mentor, and try to network. Okay. So I want to put this question to you. If money wasn't a barrier, will you study abroad? Why? Okay. Thank you. So if you have any questions, there will be a question session. I leave it this place. At this point, I'll give it back to Professor.
All
Thank you.
right. Thanks so much, our dear brother Ebenezer. And so for those who are asking questions, you can go ahead and then write down your questions. Once I'm done with my presentation session, we open the floor or the opportunity for question time as well. I can see that we have Dr. Faustina Mensah as well on here, who will also be helpful when we get to the question and answer section. So let me share my screen quick. So now that we are done with our decisions on the program of choice, so it started with the idea that I'm interested in studying abroad. And out of my contemplation or my reflection, I decided that, oh, I really want to pursue a study abroad program. And then afterwards, I made the next step by going ahead to decide on a specific program that I'm interested in pursuing. So now that I'm certain about the specific program that I'm interested in pursuing for further study, what is the next step that I need to do? And that will be our focus for this next presentation as well. Go as an individual, once you confirm that this is a particular program of study that you are interested in, or a discipline that you are interested in, the next decision is now on the specific program of study that you would like to study moving forward. Which now you decided on the program. The next thing we want to look at the school, the school, the school. So the first question that I want to ask you, and wherever you are, I want you to just use the chat room in terms of making decision in choosing a school for your study abroad journey. What will be the first thing or the first factor that you will consider as an individual? What will be the first factor that you will consider as an individual in terms of your study abroad journey? All right, so people are talking about funding. Someone just mentioned about the country, application fee, funding, and the program. Yeah, so these are interesting considerations or interesting factors. And when we look at your decision after deciding on a program of study, there are many steps that you also need to consider. And the first is the search for potential school. And then afterwards, you also look at the graduate program that offers funding opportunities for that program. Because coming in as an international student, unless maybe few of us that financially we have a backbone to support us financially for our study abroad journey. Either than that, for most of the international students that I've had the chance to talk to, most of them they are always considering the funding aspect as well. In the sense that sometimes a master's program you may be required to pay about 20,000 or even more than 20,000. For PhD level, you may be required to pay about 40,000 and even beyond. And so imagine that if you don't secure funding, then it means that during this period of stay, your tuition fee, in addition to housing and then other services, you may be paying a huge sum of money. And then the next thing that will be important is match the requirement to your qualification. In here, you try to check the requirement stated on the department website, and then you try to match it along with what you have based on your experiences, what you have on your CV, your CGPA, among others. Because there are some schools that they may mention or specifically indicate the required CGPA needed in order for you to apply. And then in some instances too, you may have to work on writing a code email. And by code email, we are talking about an email that you may send to a professor. Mind you, it is not mandatory for you to send a code email to a professor, even though sometimes it is suggested. There are some departments that they will specifically indicate that there's no need in sending an email to a professor, either for master's or PhD. However, there are some instances where when you go to the application portal, you may see an option that says that, oh, there is a requirement for you to submit a particular email to a professor in order to get in touch with the professor. Okay, let me change a bit. Yeah, so it depends on the requirement of the school. Not because others are doing it, then you also jump on and just decide that, oh, I really want to do it. It does not work that way. Instead, you need to play according to the rules of the school. What is even the school saying? But in an instance where there is no indication about whether there is a need for a code email or not, you might also decide that, oh, I want to go ahead and send a code email to a professor. So that within your statement of purpose, you can indicate that, oh, this is a professor that I've had the opportunity to contact with, whom I believe will be a great mentor. But in this context, you also have to make sure that the given professor their research work or his or her research work also aligns with your interests and your research work as well. And then, of course, you can go ahead to the next step, which is the application, and then also to submit the required document. And then lastly, you keep on your waiting line. And as you wait, if you are a believer or whatever you belong to, you continue to whether pray or do whatever you want to do as you wait. So when we talk about potential schools, there are many types of schools in the US. We have public schools, which are mostly state schools. And so, whenever you are interested in running any search, sometimes you can have the opportunity to see that there are schools that we categorize as public schools. These are schools founded by the state, by the community, or other levels, federal funds as well. And then we also have private institutions as well within the US. And the private institutions, they also generate or receive their funds from different sources. And then we also have community colleges. The community colleges are mostly 2 years programs, of which people sometimes use the community college, and then from the community college, they transition into the university level for a higher, like a 4 year degree, even though because they already have the college courses already taken, there will be a reduction in the course load. And then we also have some liberal arts colleges that focuses on helping individuals to build up their career path by focusing on some specific field or disciplines as well. So one may ask, where do I even begin the search? If you are interested in a study like a school search, and now you want to search the school, where will you begin from? Where will you begin from? You can share your views in the chat room. Now I've decided on my program, and then I want to start the school search. Where do I even begin from? Public universities? Any other? So the option is yours. You may decide to start with public schools or private schools. But in doing so, the most important thing over here is funding. And aside the funding, you also want to ask yourself as to whether the particular school also has the program of study that you are interested in. And in running all this search, you can use Google search to run your search. And another tool that you can also use is any other AI tool. So we also have ChatGTP. I believe most of us might already be in known of what ChatGTP is and how it functions. So with ChatGTP, let's say you are interested in masters in student affairs and higher education. You can go to ChatGTP and just type in, oh, give me a list of 20 universities in the US that provide or offers masters, that offer masters in student affairs and higher education. You can also go a step further by adding even your CGPA. That, oh, if my CGPA is 2.9 or maybe 3.2, I can include that. Make sure that you capture institutions that accept CGPAs that are 3.1 and above, or maybe the ones that accept CGPAs that are 2.9 and above. And I can also go a step further by including that I categorize the schools or present schools that do offer funding or graduate assistantships as well. Now, aside using ChatGTP, another tool that you can use, of which we all know, is by using Google. And when it comes to Google, it's just by running your simple or your basic search on Google. So you go to Google and then you type in the name of any school that you know that you are interested in running a search about their requirement and other details. If you do not know any other school, or if you don't have any school in mind, just go online and Google for the names of states in the United States. Names of states in the United States. So once you Google for or the US map, you can see the names of all the states in US, from Ohio to Illinois to Indiana to Montana, Georgia, and all the states within the US. For each of these states, there are attached public institutions. So you may have institutions like maybe the Ohio State University, Montana State University. So just go ahead and mention the name of the state. So if you have Georgia, just add State University. If you see Illinois as a state within the US on the map, just type Illinois and then add State University. A school will pop up. If you see maybe Georgia, type Georgia and then add State University. That will give you Georgia State University. You will get an institution. If you find Arizona, Alabama, just type Alabama State University. So for every state that you pick on the map, just include State University, and that will provide you a list or a name of an institution. So that's also another step that you can also use, assuming that you do not have any educational institution in mind. Now, in moving a step further, if I type in maybe University of Florida or maybe Indiana State University, this is how the platform might look like when it opens for you on Google. You can see that we have the University of Florida open as its homepage as well. For some institutions, because they have different campuses, you can see that there will be the same name will appear multiple times with different campuses attached. In most instances, you need to search for maybe the main campus. If the main campus does not have the program that you are interested in, you move a step further to search for the other campuses as well. Like Purdue University, for instance. Our main campus is at West Lafayette, Indiana. And then there are other campuses in Fort Wayne, South Bend, Indiana, and other. We have Purdue Global as well. So now I have this open for me. The next thing that I will do, I'm just rushing through this. Afterwards, we'll do the practical session so that you see how you can run your search. So once I click on the website, so you see the website over here, right? So I type University of Florida, and then I click on this website. The website will take me to the school's website. And over there, you will see that there are different things that you can see. You can see administration, graduate programs, colleges and departments, graduate courses, student resources, and others. And so the next thing that I will do over here, because I'm interested in a master's or a PhD, I will click on the graduate programs. Now, once I click on the graduate program, you can see that it will provide me with a long list of programs over here, from accounting to others. So over here, you see that there is a long list of programs that I have at this site. Accounting, Africana Studies, African Studies, Agriculture, Agronomy. These are all programs that I may be interested in depending on my field. Now, if I move on the next step, on the next step, I can see that there is also the program information as well. And that program information is supposed to provide me with all the details that I need about the program. So what information do I even need about this particular program? Every information that I need about the program of study, let's say I chose food science. Once I come to the program overview, I should be able to see all the necessary details as well. And then when I go to degrees offered, courses, I'll also see other information. Now, I'll decide to move a step further. Once I move a step further, maybe I chose food science. So now I can see food science and human nutrition department. When I scroll down, you see that there's the welcome to this department section. Under this section, you can see a long list of programs as well, which you can choose within the department. So for every given department, there will be other sub programs. Maybe you might go to Department of Curriculum and Instruction. Under Department of Curriculum and Instruction, you may get maybe social studies, you may get student affairs, you may get higher education as different programs as well. And then once I come to the program page, this is something that you can also be seeing as well. So we have the requirement, application details for international students, application deadlines, among others. The requirement is the first important thing at this page that you need to take into consideration. By looking at every details and asking yourself as to whether you meet every requirement or every detail. And then it is also important that you check the application details. Afterwards, you move on to check the for international students. Are there any specific requirement for international students, either in terms of the application fee, English proficiency level, or any other requirement? Then you also need to check as well. In some instances, at the for international student section, you may see that there is a requirement for TOEFL or maybe an English exams. If there is no specification that those who receive English as a medium of instruction are exempted, you can go ahead and send an email to the graduate coordinator to ask by letting them know that, oh, I schooled in Ghana, in Nigeria, or any other parts of the world where English was our medium of instruction from kindergarten all the way to higher level or college. So I was wondering if the English proficiency exams or TOEFL will be waived for me. And I'm sure after a couple of days, you will receive a response. And then we also have something like questions about the application process, where you may have some answers provided already. The next one is questions about the food science and human nutrition graduate program. Also make use of these two subsessions, because sometimes we end up disgracing ourselves in a sense that we end up going ahead to send out an email to the coordinator or to a professor asking a question that may already have the answer on the website. If you do so, it shows a low level of seriousness from your end. And so make sure that you explore the website and then confirm that any given question that you have is not a question that has already been answered on the website. And there are some instances that you can even use any other resource personnel, an individual that you might know, to answer the question instead of going ahead to send an email to the graduate coordinator. If the questions are just basic questions that are already on the website, it signals as if you've not read the website, and sometimes it shows as if you are less serious on that journey. So for this particular program, you can see that there is a long list of requirements over here. There is a requirement that you need to have at least a bachelorette or a graduate from any institution in the US or any international institution. And then you can see that there's this CGPA level 2. It says 3.0 upper division for your undergraduate grade point average. So if you are someone who falls below 3.0, then it means that for this particular program, you can't, or in other words, I would say that it's not advisable that you submit your application.
Where did I see no na me mama?
Our co-host, can you please help unmute them?
Can't at all in na wo ye na me yere no ka me say na part no
Gabriel, can you
ompam
help to unmute the person?
the same way in na koso man so that
Royal Safu, can you please mute yourself? Right. So if you fall below the expectation for this CGP, I wouldn't recommend that you submit an application unless maybe there is a free application waiver. And that one, you don't even want to worry those who will be writing the recommendation letters for you. And so you have to check on this. If you are someone that maybe you graduated with 2.8, 2.9 for your undergraduate, and then you did a master's, and then you had 3 point something or a higher CGPA, you can go ahead and then send an email to find out from them as to whether in this category you can go ahead and submit an application or not. And then over here, it says the GRE is not required for our graduate program. It means that without the GRE, you are still cool. And then the last one is talking about your application requires inclusion of all post high school education and employment. So you are expected to include that in your CV or your resume. Some instances you may see resume, other instances you might also see CV as well. And then it is also important that you check the application deadline. By application deadline, in most instances, you may see two deadlines. We have the priority deadline. The priority deadline is the one that you need to consider because that is the deadline that if you are able to submit your applications within that timeline, you can secure funding and other opportunities as well. So over here, you can see that it says if you are interested in assistantship or fellowship funding, your application materials should be submitted by the first application review date to be most competitive for available funds. So for admission, it means that you are looking to enter and then join the school in August. For most schools, they start in August. I know that there are few schools like Northwestern University in the US that school resumes in September for the fall semester. And for spring admission, I usually do not recommend that you choose spring admission in the sense that the number of funds available, fellowship funding, assistantship funding, are dependent on the number of people who will be graduating. And in terms of the number of graduates, usually we do have many people graduating in May compared to December. It means that if many people are graduating in May, by the August, they will be needing more graduate assistantship or research assistants. But if you apply for spring, which means you would like to come to the US and start your school journey in January. By December, if others are not graduating or if few people are not graduating, there is the probability that there wouldn't be any funding opportunity for you. And then over here we have for international students, where you provide a long list of English information. So requirement for qualification, specifically English as a language. So there is an exemption for those that had English as their medium of instruction. And then over here, there's a long list of names as well at this bottom over here. So I see Ghana and others as well. Sometimes it could happen that maybe your country is also an English speaking country, but the country was not listed over here. You can go ahead and send an email and then explain the situation as well to them. And then one other important thing that you also have to search as part of the requirement is on assistantships, scholarships, and other funding opportunities. As an international student, because you are interested in securing any funding opportunity, it is essential that you search any other assistantship or scholarship opportunities available for you so that you know what is available in terms of financial or funding support. And in searching for this assistantship or financial support, you also have to check as to whether the funding even covers all your tuition or maybe a number of credit hours. How much are they even willing to pay? And then aside that, also check as to whether admission and funding are combined for a single application. For some schools, you would have to submit an application and then submit a separate application for assistantship. For some other schools, once you submit admission and you are given admission, they consider you automatically for funding. It means that if they won't give you funding, they wouldn't even give you admission for such schools. But for schools that funding and admission are separate, sometimes they will go ahead and give you admission. But because the assistantship may be competitive, you have to go ahead, submit a separate application, and sometimes even attend interview. There are some schools that the assistantship, if you submit, some will call for interviews. Others, they may not even call for interview, but they will review your document, CV, and others, and then make a decision. And even for the admission as well, there are some schools that they may call for interviews even before they admit you into the program. There are others that they may not call for interviews even before they admit you into the program. So you also have to know yourself. if you are someone who may struggle when it comes to interviews, then I highly recommend that you select some schools that may not consider interviews as part of the admission process. But if you're cool with interview, then you can just go ahead and then focus on the two as well. Ones that may call for interviews and others that may not call for interviews as well. So you check on it as well. And then in terms of the assistantship, there are different categories of this assistantship. And so you also have to keep note. In most of the institutions, we have the requirement as 20 hours work for graduate assistant every week. But sometimes there are some schools that they will say that, oh, for us or for a particular assistantship, we are giving you this assistantship and you are required to work for 15 hours, which is more 5 hours less. And so some people will accept or take it as it is. And then once they enter the school, they may decide to use the extra 5 hours to work in the dining center or any other place. For some schools too, maybe you might secure assistantship or any other research assistantship or funding opportunity, but it may be more or less like half. So the requirement is that you have to work for maybe 10 hours a week. It means that you still have additional 10 hours, of which you may decide to explore other on-campus opportunities for any other funding opportunities. If your assistantship requires that you work 10 hours, it is important that you also have to check as to whether the tuition is full coverage or they will also be paying half for your tuition as well. So that's something that you need to check as well. Whether it's a full funding for your tuition or half funding for your tuition. And in most instances, as an international student, the most important thing is the tuition. Once they are ready to cover the entire tuition for you, then you are good to go. With the entire coverage for the tuition fee, even with the minimum payment as your monthly or your bi-weekly stipend, you should be in a good shape, unless you are someone who would like to overspend. And then also remember that during the school days, you are not allowed to work off campus. And so if you accept any offer that comes with a half funding or half assistantship, like 10 hours a week, it means that you have to explore other opportunities on campus. There's nothing like off campus opportunities as well. And then for funding opportunities, once it is specifically indicated that, oh, funding is not part of admission, it means that you have to attend interview. So the first thing that you have to pray for or hope for is that at least you get the opportunity to enter into the pool of those that they will be calling for interviews. So let's say my CGPA is 2.3. Once I'm called for interview, at that point, your CGPA may no longer count again. The most important thing is your justification, your ability to justify that you are indeed the ideal candidate to be selected for the given graduate assistantship. And so whether your CGPA is 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, or whatever, you need to check as to whether it is accepted for admission or not. If it is accepted for admission, then you've crossed the first step. Now, the next step will be about funding. If funding is not automatically added to admission and you are applying for a separate funding opportunity as assistantship, research assistantship, and others, now you got to hope and pray that you'll be selected as part of those who will be interviewed, because there will be higher competition and usually they will review your CV and also look at your CGPA as well. In both the admissions and the assistantship, your CGPA is highly important. But that notwithstanding, for most of the schools, they are also interested in other categorizations as well, which include what you have on your CV. What are the experiences that you have? And if you are to receive the admission or assistantship, what can you even bring on board for the school as an institution? So these are things that they also check. In some instances, some schools might also indicate that, oh, they are interested in your last 30 credit hours CGPA if it is higher than 3.0 or 3.5. So you need to check some of these details or clauses as well. Now, you come over here and then you check all the additional notes. Over here, there are also additional notes as well that you can also lay your hands on. And then, of course, if you are interested in sending out a cold email, you go online, you search for a professor, you read about the person's name, the person's research, their publication, and other details. Then you ask yourself as to whether the individual, their research work, and others aligns with what you are interested in as well. Now we are done with this particular session. We are moving into our practical section. So wherever you are, I need you to pick up your phone. So pick up your phone or your laptop. Pick up your phone or your laptop wherever you are. And let's try this quick search. So we are going to try this quick practical session as well. It is my hope and my desire that by the time we finish today, at least you will know how to run your search. So now I've provided you with the various details on how you can even go ahead and run your search. Now, how do we do that? How do we do that? So we are going to run a quick search as well. If you don't have data or bundle, I suggest that you try to get one as well as we run this quick search. So everyone just make sure that you have it. Okay. Make sure that you have bundle on your phone. If you have an iPad and also have like a phone too, that will be helpful. If you have a laptop, you can open the laptop. Now we are going to run a search. We are going to run a search. Let's try this search. So I'll be starting with maybe 2 schools. I'll start with the first school and then afterwards you can also run a search to see how it is done. Okay. So in the chat room, I've pasted a file, and that file contains over 100 schools within the US that you can also try. Thanks to Gabriel Donko, who was more helpful in terms of this compilation. So now let's run a search. Let's try this. All right. Let me try to open my Google page. Can you all see my Google page? Can you all see my Google page? Let's
Prof,
give me a
we're
thumbs up.
seeing your email. Your email. Okay, now we see Google.
All right. So now let's start with our first initial stage. Let's say I'm interested in running a search, and maybe I don't have any school in mind. As I mentioned, I may decide to start with maybe ChatGTP. So wherever you are in Ghana or any other part of the world, ChatGTP is an AI tool. Okay. So once I type in ChatGTP, there is a free option and there is a paid option. So you can go ahead and use the free option. With a free option, you may decide to sign in order to keep all your information. You may decide also not to sign in as well. Yep. So now I have my ChatGTP open. The only thing I did was that I key in chatgtp.com. So let me copy the website and then paste it on there. Or if Dr. Fosti can help in posting it for me. So you just type in chatgtp.com and then you have this page open. So wherever you are, let's all type ChatGTP. Type it. Dave, I hope you can see my screen now. So now that I have my ChatGTP open, I don't have any school in mind. So what I can do as a starting point is that I can ask ChatGTP, which is an AI tool, that provide me with a list of 10. Now I'm adding public. So as we say, garbage in, garbage out. If you put in garbage, ChatGTP will also give you garbage. So make sure that the prompt that you input is something that the AI tool understand and bring out something good. A list of 10 public universities in the US. So I can start with this simple one. Now let's look at what information that it will bring. So you see we have this long list, right? So with this list, I can decide that, oh, I want to go a step further. Instead of just asking about the 10 schools, now I'm going to ask ChatGTP, the AI tool, to add schools that provide graduate assistantship. So I asked ChatGTP that focus on only schools that provide graduate assistantships for international students. So now let's see what will pop up. So you see, now it's providing with this long list. 10. University of South Florida, Michigan State University, West Virginia University, Penn State, and others. These are schools that offer assistantships. Over here, I focus on 10. I can also decide to go a step further. Let's say my CGPA is 2.4 or 2.5. I can also move a step further. I don't know if the number of schools that I can get for this prompt. I can include that maybe focus on schools that accept 2.5 CGPA. So now ChatGTP is saying that these are a couple of schools. But over here, because my CGPA is 2.5, you can see that there's a little limitation that most of the schools do not accept that. I can move another step further and then run the search again, whether for 2.4, 2.6, 2.7, and then I can also increase the search by focusing on maybe 20 schools or 30 schools. So this is the first step in terms of running your search with Chat GTP. So now,
Prof.
let's say,
Jima. Prof.
yes, please.
Jima.
Yes, please.
Sir Ruben is saying you are going too fast, so if you can slow down with the prompts.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can copy and type some of the prompts for you, but
Okay.
just keep that in mind. The pace is a bit fast for them.
Okay. Sorry about that. So let me take it slow. So now let me start again. Okay. And then you can open your Google or any search engine that you want to use. And let's type in the first prompt. Maybe provide me with a list of 20 public schools in the US. Now I will decide to go with by adding the next prompt. So we are focusing on 20 schools that provides graduate assistantship. Are you all there? Let, let's type the prompt. Open chatgtp.com and let's type the prompt. Provide me with a list of 20 public universities in the US that provide graduate assistances for international students. If you are done typing in your prompt, you can just give me a thumbs up. All right. Can we move on? We can move on, right? Right. So now,
Yeah, Prof, I think you can move on. You're
okay.
good.
Now let's click on the submit or enter button. and ask ChatGPT to do the search for us. So wherever you are, also open your phone, your iPad, or your laptop, and also run your search. Run your search too. The goal of doing this practical session is that by the time we finish, at least you know how to run the search. Not like finishing and then people will be doing, oh, how do you run the search? Where do I start? So make sure that you are practicing it. If you have two phones, you can join with all the two, or you can join with one whilst you use the other one to run the search. So now it says these are the schools. Below are 20 US public universities. I could have decided that, oh, just provide 20 US universities without adding the public or maybe private. Were you able to run your search too? Were you able to run your search? Give me a thumbs up. If you're able to do it, just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Right. Or just type yes. Cool. So now we can also go a step further with ChatGPT again. Now ask yourself, what is my CGPA? So my CGPA will be different from your CGPA. Okay. So what I need you to do is that let's copy the prompt. The first prompt, the prompt that we use to run for 20 public schools. Copy it. So you highlight it and then you copy the prompt. Now let's repost it in the search bar. Now, after posting it in the search bar, let's move another step. And the next step that we want to move to is to personalize it. Now, you know your CGPA. Okay? So you know your CGPA. And you also know the program of study that you are interested in. So you may decide that, oh, I'm interested in student affairs and higher education. Because I'm interested in student affairs and higher education, in the next prompt, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to focus on schools that offer student affairs, masters in student affairs and higher education. If you are interested in maybe nursing, then you can also decide that, oh, ChatGPT should focus on maybe masters or PhD in nursing. If you are interested in biomedical science, biological science, political science, economics, English education, curriculum and instruction, so you focus or you ask ChatGPT to focus on your program of study. So now let's personalize it. Are you there? So now that's the next thing to key in. Yes, you can apply for two programs in one university. So now I need you to key in the program that you are interested in as the next prompt. So you want ChatGPT to focus on schools that offer a master's in student affairs and higher education. So add that to your prompt. After the first prompt that gave us the list of schools, now we copied that prompt and pasted it in the search bar. But we decided to add additional prompt, which is asking that the AI tool should focus on institutions that focuses only on masters in student affairs and higher education. Are we on there? Now let's click on it and search. Let's search. So use the program that you are interested in. If you are interested in biological science, the second statement for your prompt should focus on that program. If you are interested in food science, you do the same. Those who are interested in economics, any other like business, accounting, MBA, and others, you focus on that aspect as well. So now I'm running my search. So also go ahead and run your search. Go ahead and run your search. So I have Indiana University of Pennsylvania, MA in Student Affairs in Higher Education. Program post assistantship details for admitted students. Indiana State University, that was where Ebenezer Boache, our first speaker, graduated from. So that's also another school. Western Illinois University, Southern Illinois University, University of Rhode Island, Illinois State University, Northern Illinois University, Kutztown University, Ohio University, University of Kansas, Buffalo, Binghamton University, Clemson University. So this is a long list for my search, right? So we can decide that, oh, we want to go another step further. Now were you able to run your search? If you have any challenge up to this step, you can speak up or send a test in the chat room. Either than that, we move on to the next step. So now I've been able to ask ChatGTP to provide me the list of universities in the US. I focus on public universities. And then I also added that there has to be graduate assistantship. And I also added that the program of study has to be Masters in Student Affairs and Higher Education. The next thing that I want to do is I want to ask the AI tool to focus on institutions that falls within my CGPA. So the next thing that we want to do is to copy the prompt again. So copy the prompt, this prompt, the last prompt that you use for your search. You can copy it again. Sometimes you don't even have to copy the prompt because you are still using the same tab for your search. Any question that you ask, the understanding for the AI tool is that you are still asking questions related to the same previous question. So instead of copying the prompt, you may decide to just go ahead and ask the ChatGPT to focus on schools that accept maybe 2.6 CGPA, schools that accept 2.9 CGPA, schools that accept 3.0 CGPA, schools that accept 3.2 CGPA. If you don't want to use that route, you can also decide to also copy the prompt again and then paste the prompt. After you copy and then paste the prompt, now you add the next site which says focus on schools that accept 3.0 CGPA or above. Let me just focus on 3.0. Yeah. Focus on schools that accept minimum of. Yep. So I need you to add your minimum. If your minimum is 2.9, I need you to add it as well. If your CGPA is 2.8, I need you to add it. If your CGPA is 2.7, I need you to add it as your next prompt. If your CGPA is 3.5, 3.6, I need you to add it. As the next prompt. So add it. I'm waiting for you for the next few seconds. Now that you have added that prompt, let's run the search and see what we will get. So now we have public schools in the US. that offers graduate assistantship and also focuses on masters in higher education and student affairs. Now, can you see my table? This time around, I have it in a table form as a like a nice format. I like this table format. Way is presented. It gives you the name of the school, the program of study, where over here my focus is on student affairs, and then the minimum CGPA, and then over here assistantship or graduate or funding information. We also have it at this side. So you see over here, right? These are schools: University of Maryland, Kent State University, University of Florida, and then Missouri State University. Dr. Fossey, you want to add something?
Yes, Prof. I was asking if you can extend the search and add like the schools that also have a 70% and above acceptance or admission rate.
Okay, nice. So that's another step further. So as you are searching for the school, you also have to keep note of the acceptance rate. If there is a school that the acceptance rate is maybe 20%, 30%, it means that it is going to be difficult to get in, even if your CGPA is 3.3, 3.4, 5, 6, because there will be higher competition. But if the acceptance rate is higher, maybe 70% and above, 80% and above, and then others, then it means that the possibility is higher. So let's go another step further. And this acceptance rate can also help you in saving cost so that you don't end up throwing out so many applications and paying application fees for schools that are higher competition. So I'm saying that I want schools that have acceptance rate of 70% and above. Okay, schools with an acceptance rate of 70% and above. Now I need you to type in there and then run that search as well. I need you to run that search. And someone is asking about GRE or TOEFL. So if you want ones that there is no requirement for GRE, you can go ahead and add that as well to your prompt. And for PhD, in most instances, the focus is on your postgraduate CGPA. So your master's level CGPA, even though they will require that you submit both the master's and undergraduate transcripts. But if you are applying for PhD, they will use more of your master's level CGPA as well. That will be the main focus. Now let me run this search. So if you have any other tool or other option or for a prompt, like whether about GRE or any other, you can also add that prompt as well. So now I just added this prompt. And let's see what ChatGPT will offer. This will hopefully be our last prompt, and then afterwards. So over here, you see that we have the school name, the program of study, and then minimum CGPA is for the first one, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, 2.8, but 3.0 preferred. And then 90% of students have assistantship. So you can click on this, which is the school website, and it will provide more information as well for you. So these are the list of the ones with higher acceptance rate based on the prompt that I use. You can go ahead to expand your search by including other additional prompts as well. Now let's shift away from ChatGTP. Let's assume that now I don't want to use ChatGTP, the AI tool. I don't want to use it now, but I'm interested in a particular school. Now let's use some schools. I want to use Ohio University. So I need you to type in Ohio University. If you can type in Ohio University. Type in Ohio University. If you are on there, you can give me thumbs up. Just type Ohio University. So this is just one of the schools. And in the file that I shared, you can see that there are so many. And Dr. Fosti has also posted the school website in the chat room. Yeah, that's Dr. Fosti's school. So once I type in Ohio University, I'm going to move to the school's website. I would want to move to the school's website. So now in doing so, sometimes there will be so many or different pages or platforms that you see. So you need to at least do some little readings as well. So over here, I think this one, I don't know if this one may be focusing on only online masters. So I'll skip this one. Then over here, you can see that this side is focusing on the Lancaster campus. They have different campuses. Yes, please.
How about add Ohio University Masters in Educational Research and Evaluation? That might be easier, so we can go straight to that.
Okay, I was hoping to
Or
maybe
even
expand.
masters, where it says master's degrees and certificates, will take you straight to the general
Okay,
platform for all master's program.
yeah, I'm trying to take it for the basic. So,
Lancaster is a regional campus, so Athens campus is the best for international students.
yeah, okay. So now when I scroll over here, I see that there's this Ohio University without any indication for regional campus or any other, like whether it's online. So let me click on it. So now we are there, right? So once you are on the page, now the first thing that you need to do once you get to the website is that you are interested in your program of study, the program that you are interested in. So you will come to where it says academics. You see over here where it says academics. You click on that. For every institution, not just Ohio University, all the other institutions, you will see the academics option. You also see admission option. So now let's go to academics. And you can see that there are all these different programs. Excuse me. We have academic programs, colleges and campuses, academic services and support, research, and others. But I'm interested in the one at the far end, on the left of my screen, from my end, where it says academic program. So let me move my cursor to that side. So over here, it says undergraduate, then graduate, medical, Ohio online, and then honors, study abroad or away. Because maybe I have undergraduate already, I'm interested in either master's or PhD. So if you are interested in master's or PhD, you click on the graduate. So let's click on the graduate. So first, I key in Ohio University, and then I came to the website. When I move to the website, I click on academics. After clicking on academics, I came to this side where it says academic programs. And now we are moving on to click on graduate program. So let's click on graduate program. Click on the graduate program. I've clicked on it. Now my screen has changed. And you can see that there's this long list of programs over here, starting from accountancy and analytics. And then it goes down to others. So this is the first one. the first one for the search. You can decide to click on 2 and it will take you to the next page for an additional list of programs of study. When you click on 3, or you can use the next option, the next button over here. Once you click on next, it will move you to the next page for you to also explore the other programs as well. If you are still uncertain as to which program of study should you even focus on, one thing that you can do is that when you get to this side where it says program, you can scroll from top to down. As you check, also make sure that you check the modality and location. For international students, let's say if you choose accounting organizations, which is fully online, it means that there's no possibility for you to secure visa and come to the US. Because when you go for interview, they will end up saying that, oh, but the program is fully online. Why do you even have to travel to Athens? But over here, we have on campus, and then it says Athens, which is the main campus. And then when I click on 2 or next, it will take another search and then move me to the next page. So if you are still uncertain in deciding on the program of study, you may decide to click one after the other to explore all the other programs by checking the ones that are on campus and then also clicking on the ones that aligns with your experiences or the ones that you may be interested and then reading about their requirements as well. But if you have already decided about the program of study that you are interested in, then you may decide to limit your search options. So over here, I can see that there are colleges, right? There are a long list of colleges over here that I can use. If I'm interested in maybe the student affairs and higher education, that will fall within the College of Education. So I need to focus on that. If I'm interested in maybe political science, economics, and others, then I might have to come to maybe College of Arts and the Sciences. If I'm interested in MBA, among others, the business related programs, then I would have to come to the College of Business and run my search over there. So now let's say I'm interested in education related program. I can go ahead and click on the Payton College of Education. Now I have cut down the long list. I can decide to cut down again where it says the program type. So I can decide to use the degree, whether master's degree or PhD as a degree, as against certificate. So I want a degree, not a certificate. So I click on this. That will also help me to limit my search and reduce the long job. I can also decide to come to the degree level where I can either choose master's or doctoral. So I may have a master's or maybe I can decide to go for PhD. I can also decide to use the program modality, which might either be fully online, on campus, or hybrid. If you are an international student and you would like to travel to the US, you are interested in the on-campus option, or maybe sometimes the hybrid option. There are some programs that they have in-person courses and then some few others within the same program that you may be taking some courses online. But in most instances, you may go for the on-campus option. So if I choose the on-campus option, now you see that there is the list over here for me, starting from adolescent to young adult, which is master's degree. And then it continues with clinical mental health to coaching education, college student personnel, counselor education, and supervision. That's a doctoral program. So let's say I want masters. I might decide to focus on maybe only masters. So only masters. Now these are the lists that I have, only 1 and 2. So I have this long list also over here: coaching education, college student personnel, educational leadership, educational research and evaluation. Now when I move on to the next page, it will also provide me with additional list as well. where it says school counseling. So masters in school counseling, and then we have recreation, hospitality, and tourism. So let me go back to my first page. Now let's assume that I'm interested in the college student personnel. What I need to do now is to click on this. So this is my cursor. Let's click on it. If I'm moving too fast, just send a chat and then I'll slow down. So now I've opened the page for Masters in College Student Affairs. Now let's see what we have. So over here, I have higher education programs. So these are the programs under the higher education focus. So now I'm interested in Masters in College Student Personnel. So these are information about this particular program. I can read more about this, and then I can move down to about the program, standards and guidelines. Then you read about this. Learning objectives. What are you hoping to achieve, and what are their learning objectives? The program philosophy and objectives. You can read about those as well. So these are the alumni map and job placement, where people are working, like states where some of their former groups are working now as well. Sorry. So let me move on to the program or the curriculum overview. Then over here, there's a section on the overview. Now I'm at the most important section too, the admission requirement. Dr. Fossey, you want to add something?
Yeah, when you're done, I would want you to go to the student employment page, because Dave was asking a question and I wanted to support in to explain what I had said earlier. So I see Hannah asking us to review the requirements. Hannah, please. That one, it's a one-on-one, interaction. You should be able to do that at this point, to be honest. It wouldn't be fair to everybody, because otherwise then we have to pick everybody's program and review that. It's quite straightforward. So I will let Prof, you almost got there. He will use this one as an example and walk through the requirements. And then when you are done, Prof, if you can pull up, or you can give me share
Sure.
how do
Yeah.
you call it, access, and then I can pull it up, so it'll be easy for me to review that with the group.
Okay. So
Since it's
Hannah,
my school, I know where to find
the
things.
the admission requirement for masters might also be similar to the PhD. So as we follow, we can see how it works as well. But when I'm done with the masters, depending on the time, maybe we will try another PhD one too to see. Yeah. So now I have the section over here where it says admissions requirement. And then it says that you are to apply for the program through the link below by January 1st to be fully considered for graduate assistantship opportunities. It means that for this particular program, their priority deadline is January 1st. So any other application submitted after January 1st will be considered for admissions. However, in terms of graduate assistantship, it may depend on the number of applications or applicants that they receive before, or maybe January 2nd, or the date that you submitted yours. So always ensure that you submit your application latest by the priority deadline date. And because you have to also wait for recommendation letters to be submitted on your behalf and others, at least make sure you submit it some days or week or two before the priority deadline, so that if they count recommendation submission as part of the full package submission, for consideration, you know that you fell within the date. Because sometimes you may submit your application, but because recommendation letter is delayed, you may not be counted as part. Now let's go down. So international student, it says submit application by March 1 to allow time for visa processing. Even though you're international student, still focus on the January 1 priority deadline, unless you have the financial capacity to pay and you don't need graduate assistantship. So it says, number one, good news, they do not require graduate record examination. So no GRE required for this particular program of study. Now let's move on to the next, number two. Number two, it says completed online graduate admission program and an application fee of $50 and $55 for international students. So for all international students, you'll be paying $55. Those who are U.S. citizens, they will pay $50. And the link over here is the application portal. So once we are done, we can click on it and see how this application portal even works. So now we know how much we are supposed to pay if we need to apply for this school. Number three, the submissions, document that you are supposed to work on. The first one, it says transcript of undergraduate institutions attended. If you attended more than one undergraduate institution, you submit all the undergraduate transcripts. If you attended only one, you go ahead and submit that. And then over here, it says autobiographical sketch or personal statement. So you see that they are not calling for both autobiographical sketch and at the same time a personal statement. But what they meant over here is that either an autobiographical sketch or a personal statement. The autobiographical sketch, as explained over here, also includes a sample of your writing. So over here, you are trying to provide an account about your life experiences, your writing, your teaching experiences, your research experiences, among others. All those details could be captured as an autobiographical sketch. Or you can also have it as a personal statement, which is supposed to be 2 to 3 pages. And here it says double space. So don't use single space. Always follow the guidelines or the requirement so that you don't end up getting your application thrown away mainly because you are not following the rules. And then the next one, it says 3 letters of recommendation, including 1 letter from a previous instructor and 1 from your previous or current job supervisor or employer. The request for your letters of recommendation will be available when you submit your application. So the first point is that you need 3 letters of recommendation. You are not going to the people to collect the letters, PDF or others and submit. But you need their names, their contact information, that is their names, phone number, email address, where they work, or what position that they are occupying now. And it says that 1 letter from a previous instructor. So someone who was once your professor or your instructor or a lecturer should provide at least 1 of those letters. And then the other one also has to come from your previous or your current job. Previous or current job, like your supervisor or your employer, can also provide the second recommendation letter. And then the third recommendation letter, there is no specification. So that one can come from either a professor or someone you have worked with or any other person as well. But because this is an academic one, I always recommend that if you can get maybe 2 from the academic spaces and then maybe 1 from your employer or maybe your former supervisor. And the last side, it says that the request for letters, it will be available when you get to the final stage. So when you get to the final stage where you're about to submit, that's where they will ask you to input their information. And then a current resume or CV. Sometimes these words are used interchangeably. So when they say resume or CV, it means if you have CV, that's fine. If you have resume, that's also fine. So you are also required to submit that. And then for international students for whom English is not a native language, are required to submit English proficiency test results. So if I decide to click on it, I'm sure maybe they may provide me with a list of maybe names of countries where they've granted an exemption, of which Ghana will be part of these countries. And then after reviewing your admission materials, students will be required to attend a virtual one-on-one interview with your program faculty. These interviews will be conducted on a rolling basis as applications are submitted. It means that for this program, it's a must for you to attend an interview in order for you to secure admissions. So if you are someone if you have a phobia for interview, you don't go for this program unless you are open to attending the interview, or maybe there's no other option. But there are other options that, oh, because you have a fear for interview, you don't have that confidence, or you are scared, you can search or check other programs. And then these are also info session as well. They had one yesterday, the next one is on October 10th. These are sessions that you can attend online to learn more about the program and also the program requirement. Now let's look at graduate assistantship. It says graduate assistantship application process. And then the first statement, it states that please note that the GA application process is separate from the academic program application and managed by different units or offices on campus, which means that you need to apply for admissions and then also apply for graduate assistantship as a separate tool. So if you submit application for admission, the next thing that you will do is submit application for graduate assistantship, which is highly, so a GA offer is highly recommended but not required for acceptance. So if you have money to pay, you don't necessarily have to apply for GA. And then over here, once you click on the available GA positions, you can see a long list of available GA positions that you can submit applications. Because of a higher competition, I always recommend that you submit more applications. So you can submit as many as you wish. For some schools, they may require that you list maybe 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 the places or the jobs that you may be interested in. So you check your experiences in together with your interest, and then you may decide to rank them from maybe 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 and submit. And then there are also other student jobs at the university as well. Some of these student jobs, they may not be paying tuition, and so maybe you already have a half assistantship offer or a half funding, and you are interested in other student jobs. There are other student jobs that sometimes they may also be paying partial or full or some level of tuition waiver as well. And then over here we have apply now. So if you tick all the boxes that we just spoke about, and then you feel like now you are on to the next step, you can click on the apply now button. So now that I click on the apply now, it brought me to this particular page as well, where I need to go to the application link. And then after clicking on the application link, now it says returning user if you have already created an account before with the school, or first time users. If this is your first time trying to apply, you click on the first time user option where you are supposed to create an account to start a new application. So on here, let's say I want to start an application. You input your email address. It has to be an email that you regularly check so that if they send you a code or any other thing, you'll be able to verify. Now let me enter date of birth as well. So I decided to enter my date of birth over here, and then my first name and last name. And then I also decided to also enter my last name as well. Now let me click on continue. So it says that a temporary pin has been sent to my email address. So I will now go to my email address to check for the temporary pin that has been sent to me. So the temporary pin, I have it over here where it says 1008111123. Do I have? Oh. So new password. Let me try to type in any password. I'm choosing my own password. So let me key in my password. So over here. Now let me go into the platform. So now that I'm on the platform, you can see that they are asking me to start new application. So I can click on the new application, select an application type. Which application are you interested in? We are already done with fall 2025, and I recommend that you don't go for the spring 2026 or summer 2026 unless you have the financial capacity to pay for your tuition. Either than that, if you want assistantship, the fall 2026 is highly recommended. So I click on fall 26 and create application. So now it says graduate degree application or non-degree or certificate. I'm interested in a degree application. So I click on this, then now open application. So this is the application page for me now. The first one, still that long list of instructions. So once you are done reading it, you can go to the next page. The next page, you need to, is about the program selection. So maybe master's level, you indicate, and then campus base, if that's your option. Now we have a long list of programs over here. Because I'm interested in a master's in student personnel, I have to select that one. And then you continue by answering. So you answer all the questions, then you click continue. If there's a question that you don't understand, you can try to ask someone who maybe might have gone through the system before. And then this is my first Ohio University graduate application. Yes. Then you continue over to term selection, where you select the term, personal background, where you provide information about your background, additional information about your bio. So over here, there are more information about your bio as well. You indicate those information over here. The personal info is over here. Because I inputted some information, I could see those ones over here. When you get to select your citizenship status, you have to indicate that you are not a U.S. citizen. So you have to select that one as well. So sometimes when you select that you are international student from the top or from your personal information, it might skip that section automatically. Then continue to financing your education. Are you eligible for educational benefit according to, so you try to read what the benefit eligibility means, then you ask whether you have to choose yes or no. And then academic history. Over here you input the information for your academic history, international institutions, for you as well. You add the institutions, check whether they are interested in undergraduate to higher level information or post secondary or even from secondary or high school level. And then at the material section, this is where you upload your document for the CV and others. So over here, you need to check the requirement page and make sure that you are submitting all the required documents. So if I click on continue, then there are also other information. Over here, if you answer any question as yes, then there's the possibility that your admission requirement request will be denied because you are talking about felony indictment, your intent to like engage in prostitution and any other thing can easily lead to rejection. Once I'm done with all this, I'll move on to the signature page. Over here, in place of your signature, you type in your name, and then the last page is the review, where I need to review by making sure that every information that I have on there, everything is correct. If you don't fully trust yourself, you can also check with someone else. You can schedule a Zoom talk with someone that you know, or you may decide to give in your credentials to like a brother, a sister, so that the person can help confirm that all the information that you've inputted, everything is accurate. Now that you are done, you can go ahead and click on submit application. Before you submit, they will request for the application fee. So make sure that you have the application fee ready. For most of the schools, they will request that you input a debit card information or a credit card information in order to make the payment. So now you go ahead and submit, and then you are done as well. All right. Dr. Fosi, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, I'm gonna put my camera on so people see me. Hi, everybody. Prof, can you go back to the application portal,
Okay,
please?
okay,
Okay, I think if you can click on, is it that additional information, materials actually? Is
okay.
that where the recommendation? Let's click on that. Yeah, let's click on that and see. No,
Yeah, I
no
think because I'm not done with the others, that's why it easily takes
stuff.
me
So
to.
it's not showing, but there's usually, can you click on additional information so we see what's there too? So this is something that you all will just have to go through each tab and find. But one thing I would also add to what Prof said is recommendation letters. So usually, and this I can speak highly because it was the process I went through Ohio University portal, is that they will send an automatic email to the people that you have listed as referees. And so one thing I experienced is professors or your supervisor, they may take time to write it. And the the quality of the recommendation letter plays a key role in your admission. So two things you need to keep in mind. One, you need to make sure that if you're thinking about schooling abroad, have a conversation with the professors or the supervisor that you are planning to list as your referee. And then secondly, let them know that you will be they will be receiving an automated email which they have to fill out. There's one I we need to look for it maybe for another time, but there's a checkbox when you click on the what do you call it, the field to type in the person's details. It will say you want to waive.
Yeah.
I'm shocked we cannot find that.
Um,
Yeah,
it might
Godwin,
probably
if we
be
could
because
find,
I've not inputted the
you've not
information
filled
for
in
here. Yeah,
stuff, academic history.
yeah.
Yeah, let's go down and see if we find. Yeah, probably
I
that's
think I
that's
have
a
to
reason.
fill in. those information
Yeah,
before.
don't worry.
Yeah.
But one thing I just want you all, if whenever, whichever school, I think it's something that is general, there's a check box that will say that you want to waive to see what your referee is submitting. Check that box. Because if you don't waive it, you're indirectly telling the person that you don't trust them and you want to see what they are emailing. When I was applying to schools and I didn't know that, initially I didn't check that. But thankfully, one of my faculty called me and said I should go in and go and waive that. So I know that it's very nervous to think about, especially when you don't know. Some of our faculty, they will be kind and send you a copy, but if they don't, you just have to trust in faith that they are writing something positive for you. But if you don't check that, I don't think it will impact your admission in any way. But that is just, it's just a cultural thing you have to keep in mind, that if you cannot say you want to waive it, then indirectly you're even telling your faculty or your referee that I do not trust your word. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. um I think that was the only thing. So like I
Mm.
said, please even look. I don't know why you can't find it, because I remember with mine, I could send the referee, I could fill that out first. So I sent, so they got the prompt early while you were getting through the remaining parts of filling the portal. But once again, as Dr. Boachi said, please, this process, even what Prof Jima has done, if we had that, we wouldn't have hassled. As Prof Jima himself, this thing is a lot of work, and already Prof Jima has done a lot of the work. You
This,
have to
this is this
read.
is my this is my
Read.
longest study abroad session.
Yes, please, no. You're spoon feeding everybody. Let them read. Read, and everybody's context is different. So I'm so glad when Dr. Bachi was very explicit and hard. Most of the time you go for these webinars, they make it seem like, oh, you close your eyes and it's done. All the work that ChatGPT had to do, we had to enter it individually. Even in the olden days, they used to wait on mail. They will send and go and pick up the book, and then you have to scan through and look. Right now, we have internet. So please put in the work. Your program of interest is different from mine, okay? And so it's very much important. And the info sessions, Prof, can you please go back to the page for CSP? So I can speak to this because it's the same department I came from. I think it's the next one, the next tab. No. Oh, the next tab. Yeah, good. So the CSP program, for instance, right? That one, they pair with student affairs. What do you call it? They pair with student affairs GA-ships. So that program in particular, if you want a research assistantship, if you want a teaching assistantship, that is not the purpose of the college student personnel program. I think someone is spamming us, so we'll have to remove them. Godwin.
Yeah. Let me check on it.
Yeah. We have to remove them. So just keep that in mind. If you see an opportunity to go for an info session, please go for an info session. And as Dr. Boachi and Prof. Jima had already hinted, please check the frequently asked questions tab. Don't go for info sessions and be asking questions that they already have provided answers on the program's website. So those are the
Nigga,
two
nigga,
or
nigga,
three
nigga,
key
nigga,
things.
nigga, 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 nigga.
Charlie, I asked him, were you able to get them out?
Yeah, but I did not add the report, so I'm sure the person will try again.
There's another one joining too. I think you should stop allowing people to join Can you stop that?
Yeah, let me check on it.
Okay, can you give me sharing? I can share. Yeah, I can share it while you focus on that. I'm going to quickly share my screen. Are you all here while Prof focuses on the spammers? This is what happens sometimes. The Kezia person is still in. Okay. So can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen? Okay, cool. So, on the same website, there was the direct link to the job sites. But Dave, this is to your initial question. Most of the time, an easy way to navigate college campuses is when you even go to life like for my school is known as Ohio University, but wherever it is where you see student life or anything, mostly that are the places where you find the jobs. If not, you can do a simple Google search and do like Ohio University student jobs, you see. So the same way, whichever school you're interested in, just add student job postings, right? So when you go to you see the first one, it says there are different types of jobs. There are hourly jobs. Actually, we should go back. um let's see this one. Yes. So sometimes like they're different. So you see, it has graduate students, what kind of jobs. It will explain everything. This process too requires you to do a lot of reading, please. So when we come here, for my school, for instance, I really like the way they have made it. So you realize that they've separated it. And so you come to student jobs. And most schools, you have an opportunity to filter, right?
I
There are
think
even, do you
someone
see, there
someone
are
said,
more search.
Dr. Fosti.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you see her screen now? Okay,
Okay.
you can continue.
All right. Thank you. So, do you want me to go back or you saw what I did?
I think you can go a step
Okay.
back. Okay.
We are not admitting anybody again. There's another person trying to, it's those same people.
So I think
So as I said, there's so many ways you can filter. So another thing is that you remember Dr. Boachi and Prof have already spoken about this.
Run, nigga, run!
What these people just joined though.
sorry,
Run, nigga, run!
when I saw the name Abraham, I thought that was Ghanaian, so I accepted the
Yeah,
person.
don't admit anybody again. Don't admit anyone again. I think that, yeah. Yeah, they're just not good people. Oh my God. Don't admit anyone at this point because they
Agatha.
come in with different names. So, as I said, so another thing you need to make sure is that sometimes some institutions have regional campuses. With the regional campuses, you may have limited resources and funding opportunities. So, in as much as possible, you may want to target the main campus. So, do some research. Everything that has been said here is truly what you need to do. Try and connect with someone to have a good sense. Like before I was coming to school, even if I'd seen that Lancaster is a regional campus or Chillicothe, I wouldn't know what it meant, until now. So you want to keep that in mind, or most of the time, just stick to the main campus, okay? So for us here, you can see campus. I'm going to select Athens, right? And then it's already position type of student, and then you search. So, like Prof had said, with the culinary, mostly it's hourly. But do you see when it says graduate assistantship, that is, a student opportunity for a grad program. So you come, you click on the details, it will tell you, and then eventually you see what it says here with the pay rate. It says that you'll be getting 13,500. This is for the year, okay? And it includes tuition waiver for parting college and students from select other. So you may be applying for ITS and ITS may not cover this. So these are things that you need to read and understand. But like Prof said, no matter what, apply. Just apply for these programs. And hopefully, when you do that, to be ready to be interviewed. Okay? Because they're not going to give it. There are some programs that will automatically come with funding, and then others where you will have to apply. But it doesn't hurt. Once you're done submitting your application, start looking, do a search. I've spoken with so many people who didn't get funding. And my first question is, have you looked on the student portal, jobs portal? They are like, I don't know where they are. So just keep that in mind as another resource. Just keep that in mind as another resource, that you have to be applying for other open opportunities. You never know what will end up. Like in my experience, I didn't get an assistantship from my department, but I got an assistantship in the Division of Student Affairs. So you have to look out for other opportunities elsewhere. I think that was the key thing that I wanted to show Dave on how to do that if you're not doing that in addition. And Prof. Jima, just so you know, Dave had asked a question, and I just want to reiterate. Sometimes, if you are not getting funding, don't think it is your application that is not meeting the bar. It is that institutions are currently going through a hard time with funding. Government is cutting funding. Post-COVID, people are now comfortable with online degrees. So colleges are generally struggling in terms of people willing to pay money to be in person. Also, as I said, let's say if the cohort majority of them are in their second and third year, that means they have funding till about 5 years, even in some instances to about 7 years. So depending on the number of students in that program, if they are not graduating, they are not easing the pipeline for funding. So it may not have anything to do with you. When I was coming to school, I had applied to Bowling Green. I'd gone through the graduate assistantship application. They also have a matching system, and I had a graduate assistantship. I had been matched, and I thought, oh, that was guaranteed. No, the program said they don't usually take more than 5 people, so they were not going to give me admission. So even though I had secured funding, they didn't give me admission. I couldn't do anything about it. So things like these also happen. So don't take it personal, but just know that there are other opportunities to secure graduate assistantship or research or teaching assistantships, but you will have to look around, okay? And then for those of you, I don't know, from Ghana, for instance, sometimes we do have the scholarship fund program in Ghana. It may be hard, but if that can even be something you will start with, look into those options too, so that you can come in and start in. When you come on campus and you establish relationships, you are able to navigate and then secure something from your second year onwards. So I just wanted to highlight that. I'll stop sharing my screen. Prof. Jim, I don't know, I may have to be leaving soon, so I don't know if you want us to touch a bit on some of the questions before I jump off, but I hope this was helpful. Prof, you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, so I just want to open the a PAD platform as well, so that at least people can also see
Oh.
what's
I
there for
sent you
PAD.
I sent you the EDRE one by text. I don't know if you saw it in the chat. So you see, so it'll take you there.
So now In here we have PAD as well. So let's say maybe I click on the curriculum and instruction program, which is a PAD program in curriculum and instruction. Then we have the information as well here, program overview, learning outcomes, required courses that you'll be taking during the years of stay, the affiliated programs, affiliated faculty as well. These are funding information as well. I'm trying to look for requirements. So dissertation, minimum 10 hours for dissertation. Let's see, request info. Okay, let me click on application process. So for this PAD program, the deadline is January 31st. And then it says you can apply for fourth semester, application beginning in the fourth semester. Now, application materials. So the first one is that you need your CV or resume. Please, those in the waiting room, I'm not going to admit you in, so you can send me a text so that I know their Ghana names. I fell for it at first when I saw another Ghana name. It was a different name. Then the next one is a scan official undergraduate and graduate transcripts. So for PhD, you need both the graduate and then undergraduate transcript for your master's and then your undergraduate transcript as well. And then the next one, it says 3 letters of recommendation. So here too, you also need 3 different letters of recommendation as well. So the applicant should not upload recommendation letters to the online system. So you are not supposed to upload the recommendation letters. The same for the master's level. So you choose the person and then you provide informations about the person, and the system will automatically send a link to the individual. Here it says at least one should address the applicant's teaching, and at least one should address the capacity for engaging in graduate level study. So over here, they are also particularly interested in your teaching experience, curriculum and instruction. If you don't have teaching, it means that it will be difficult for you to apply for this particular program. And then the next one, it says do not solicit character references, which is from friends, family members, and then people that you know socially. So if my brother is interested in a study abroad program, because of our family relations or family ties, I can't be the one writing the recommendation letter for my brother. That's more of like a breach of like personal interest. And then over here they need goal statement. So the goal statement, the expectations for the goal statement, you can see the explanations over here. Then academic writing samples. Over here to you check the requirement as well. The writing sample can be something about 10 pages, 15 pages, or if you have ever published any paper before, you can go ahead and submit it as your writing sample. If you work on a project work, and let's say the project work was about 50 or 60 pages, 70 pages, do not submit that as your writing sample. Instead, try to carve out a short mini project or manuscript that can be about 15 pages or maybe 17 pages, instead of providing them with 70, 60 or 50 page project work that you work on for your undergraduate or master's level, because they have a lot to work on. Here they are interested in the way you think, the way you write, the way you make argument and even support argument with evidence and others. So that's what they are hoping that you demonstrate. And it says list 3 faculty in order of preference you would like to work with. So here they are also interested in people that you want to work with. So for this instance, it is highly recommended that you should have contacted other faculty members or professors in the department that you are interested in. Reach out to them, and then once you reach out to them, you can find out from them, let them know that, oh, you are interested in their program, and then you would want to, because your research interests align with theirs, you were hoping that they will be a great mentor for you as you go ahead and submit your application. So you can include their information, proof of English proficiency too, for those that English is not their native language or was not used as a medium of instruction as well. And then there are also other information over here about certified official transcript. So after admission, you are expected to submit a certified copy of your transcript. And then master's degree from any institution. So for here, the master's GPA is at least 3.4. So you also have to keep note of that. And then other information. So once you qualify, you are ready, you click on apply now and go ahead to apply. So now we want to open the floor for myself and then Dr. Fosti for maybe the next 10 minutes. So question time, and then we can end the session. So question time now. If you have any question on admissions and school search related issues, in October, our next session will focus on CV, statement of purpose, and those other writing materials. So let's limit our questions to school search, admissions, applications, and those stuff. So question time.
Prof, there was an initial question about family.
Oh yeah, I don't know if the
Um,
person is still on.
yeah, I saw a hand raised for a minute.
You can unmute and talk.
Gabriel, talk while I look for the question.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, Please, my question is in relation to writing code emails. Sometimes when you do the school search, you find out that you are supposed to contact a faculty member, try and inquire or find out if the person can be of help in terms of being your potential supervisor or something, considering how your research background aligns with that person. But me, with the little experience that I have, most of the time, when you write the code emails to the professors or faculty members, it becomes very difficult receiving responses from them. So I want to know that going forward, if I face such a hurdle, should I go ahead and then do the application? Or without it, I cannot go ahead to submit an application? Thank you.
Dr. Fosi, do you want to answer?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question quickly. So I made that mistake when I was applying. And I don't know what you wrote in your email. So that's another thing is sometimes when we are writing our emails, we are not too professional. I ended up the first time I wrote, the professor responded, and then I ended up asking so many questions, like the same way we would have asked our professors in Ghana. He didn't respond again. So let's be one. I just want to use this as an opportunity to say for those of us now, you have access to Google and templates and things like that. Please utilize Google and ask Google, like even for some idea. And don't just use AI and copy and paste because now that's also become a big conversation. So use Google, look for a template to write a very professional email. That's the first thing. Sometimes they may not respond because it is not a professional, is not as professional and as motivational for them, and they feel it might be not worth their time. The other thing, I think if you remember, Prof. Jima mentioned, you want to also read a little bit about the person you're emailing and say something like, I was using your article in a paper or in an assignment in my grad program or something or on a project, and I wanted to reach out to ask A, B, C, D, E. That personal connection always touches, somebody's heart. I've even received emails from some students interested in where I work, and they are sending me all their personal details. Be very mindful with these things. That said, we will still highly encourage you to apply. Also, another thing you need to learn is that the faculty here, they get swarmed with a lot of emails, all of us. Sometimes you may even reach out to me and it may take a long time for me to respond. It doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. The students here, when you open up our accounts, our email accounts, you'll be shocked. Ask Prof Jima, he's a faculty, the number of emails you get in a day. You can get over 200 emails in a day, and I am not exaggerating. So people become very overwhelmed, whether it is a staff or faculty, they sometimes become overwhelmed. And if they don't have your email, it could even be sitting in their spam. So they haven't even seen it. So when these things happen, don't think that it is personal. But no matter what, go ahead and apply. Because at the end of the day, it's not even the email that is a full guarantee. If you're reaching out to the program coordinator and things like that, that might help a bit, but it's no guarantee that you still get admission. So we'll highly encourage you that even in addition to that, still apply, because at the end of the day, it's your application that will be the pipeline for you to secure something.
Yeah, and in addition to what Dr. Fostiga said, so when you send out an email, because we from Africa, sometimes someone send an email today and then within less than 24 hours, they expect that you respond. But people have a lot of commitment. They are working on a lot of things. So when you send an email maybe on Monday and then you don't receive a reply, you have to wait. At least wait for maybe about a week. In a week time, if you don't receive a response, you can resend the email as a second follow-up email. Hopefully, if the person did not see the first one, at least the second one could be seen. And another thing that you also have to do is that you have to also check the time zone. So you are in Ghana, you want to send an email to someone in US, maybe in Eastern time zone. You don't end up sending it in maybe Ghana daytime, which is about 4 a.m. in the US time. The person wakes up in the morning and then you see an email from someone that was sent at 4 a.m. You can easily get angry and not reply. Or maybe the email was even sent during weekend. So time yourself in a way that if you are sending the email, send it during the daytime, maybe between 9 a.m. all the way to maybe 3 p.m. in US. So you send it during that time, but then maybe the person might have already opened their laptop or working on something and the person can see your email. And also be professional. And aside being professional, make sure that you are not asking basic questions that are already on the website. There are sometimes that people reach out to us and some questions that they ask, they are no questions.
So I see that farming in Africa, and then Eugenia. Farming.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Samuel. So, I have a small question that I would like to ask the panel. So, I had a CGP of 2.4 way back on UCC, but I've been trying to send code emails to some professors within US, but I don't want to really go on to that section though. But it's like mostly when I try to search for schools that accept this low CGPA, at times, sake of my CGPA, it draws me back. But my real question that I want to ask is, can I get a school that will also provide me with full funding scholarship with this CGPA? Is it possible?
Samuel,
Dr.
thank you
Fosu, do you
for
want
your
to take
question.
that?
I think Prof. Jima addressed that question earlier. I will say that this is a very specific situation, that it will be helpful that you stay connected. At the end of the day, it is your application materials. Like Prof. Jima said earlier, your GPA may not be as strong, but depending on the work you've done, depending on the essay, and how passionate you show that you are about the area or the discipline, there's so many factors that go into that. As you saw, we even put that in the chat GPT AI search. It may be hard, but it's not impossible. That's the best we can say. There, I even told you, I had a high GPA. I had secured funding in a school, but the department still said they were not giving me admission. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay? So anything is possible. Don't give up. I will say that sending, depending on the type of cold emails you are sending to, you want to keep an eye on that, because faculty, they know each other. You see how Prof. Jima and myself, we've known each other for God knows how long. So if I'm getting an email from Samuel, and I'm in Ohio and he's in Montana, we can have a conversation and later we would realize it's the same person. So you want to also make sure that you are preserving your own integrity. Okay, a lot of things are centralized on this side of the world, so you want to preserve your integrity. Do the hard work if you can. Even for those of you with low CGPA, write the GRE, so it shows your academic or intellectual abilities. Even though the program says you GRE, or if it's a master's, then you can do the SAT. Then do the SAT to enhance, your application materials. So it's possible, if the two of us cannot categorically say yes or no, because we are not admission officers. There are times, like I said, even colleges may be willing, but the university can say no, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can get admission, you can get funding, but then the consulate will not give you visa. There's nothing you can do about it. So you just have to go through the process. Focus on applications more, focus on enhancing your application materials, and don't be investing time too much in the cold emails, is what I will say.
Yeah, and thanks so much, Dr. Fosti. So, in addition to what Dr. Fosti said, one thing that I will add is that for a person like yours, like Samuel, right? You can start your search by using the chat GTP prompt that we're using. So that with the chat GTP, you can see a couple of schools that may fall within your CGPA category. Beyond that, you can also search the long list of schools that I shared in the chat room, over 100 schools. These are international student friendly institutions. So when you go on there, if your CGPA is 2.4, search for institutions that maybe they accept 2.5 or maybe 2.7 or 2.8. If your CGPA is 2.4 and they are calling for 2.5, it means that you are a little bit closer. If they are calling for 2.6, you are still a little bit closer. If you are 2.7, you are still a little bit closer. I know that there are a lot of schools that for 2.7, 2.8, you can get some schools easily. So you go in for those schools. If you don't have the money, then you focus on more of the 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 as well. If you don't have the GRE, like Dr. Fosti suggested, one thing that you can do is that within your statement of purpose, maybe they are demanding 2.6, 2.7, or 2.8, but you have 2.4 and you have money to maybe apply for a couple of 2.7, 2.8 schools. Within your statement of purpose, you need to justify the decline in your CGPA, especially for those of you that did not start well. Maybe first year, second year did not go well, but level 300, level 400, you were superb. It means that there is a justification for your case. Or maybe you started well, level 100, 200, but 300 or 400 did not go well. And maybe you have a justification. Maybe someone you lost your mother, you lost your father. There was a natural disaster. There was something else. You took ill. or maybe due to financial hardship, you were struggling because you were working part-time, multiple part-time jobs at the same time, studying, doing this, doing that. You lost your mother, you lost your father, or maybe there was fire outbreak at home that caused emotional or mental. So try to provide like a reasonable justification as to why there was a decline towards the end of your program or maybe at the beginning of your program. So these are things that you can include, maybe a paragraph within your statement of purpose as a way of justifying to the readers or the reviewers as to why some of these things even happen. Yeah. Any maybe last, like maybe one or two questions and then we end.
Eugenia had her
Hello.
hand up, and
Yes.
then once she's done, I will talk about the family question. Gabriel,
Okay.
if you can please type your question in so that we'll tackle that as well, please.
Okay. I'm Eugenia. So I want to know, I have my first degree in education from a college of education here in Ghana, but I want to study abroad and switch discipline, like that is course. I want to do a different course that is not related to education. Um, so my education, I majored in English language and social studies. And the course I want to switch to is international relation. I'm considering the social studies as a little relation to the international relations. I want to know if it is possible. Is that going to affect my admission process? Is that going to affect anything when I apply to study abroad?
Quick one, social studies is broad. Okay. So if you have a bachelor's in social studies education, you are more than welcome to apply for master's in international education. Social studies focuses on history, civics and government, and also geography, accounts. So these are broader focuses that prepares you for programming in political science, international education, international program, and others as well. So
Yeah,
you can go
but please,
ahead.
sorry to cut you, but I majored in English language, and then the social studies was my minor course, but English was my major course. And
Yeah.
I have a CGPA of
It doesn't
3.47.
matter, Eugenia. It doesn't matter. And Prof has addressed this. At the
Okay.
end of the day, it is how you position your statement of purpose. And one thing you should know, the world is moving to a place of, interdisciplinary scholarly engagement. People like here, professionals like it when students from diverse backgrounds are coming into their program. So it
Mm.
is a plus. And like we said, right now you all have access to the internet. We were quite limited. Look for other things, ask questions that you can use to enhance your statement of the purpose and your passion towards international relations or international development. You can even
Yeah.
do a Google search and ask, how can I write a strong personal statement, you know, for a graduate program in international studies with a background with what was your background? English and social studies as a minor.
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
it's all about your application materials. Anything is possible in this land. Anything you set your mind on is possible. And like I said, I think Prof. Jima and I would want to be mindful. We are not the admission officers in the different schools, but one thing we have seen is that you will have a stake or you would have an opportunity based off the quality of your application materials.
Yeah. And so, in addition to that, unless upon reading from the school's website, there is a requirement for some required courses. I know that in my school, for instance, if you're interested in econs, you should have taken econometrics. So if you took any bachelor in social science or any other program and you want to do masters in econs without a course in econometrics from your undergraduate transcripts, you can't apply and get admission into that masters in economics program. So if there's any clause that, oh, you need to have this, you should have taken this particular course, then you don't go in for such program. Because if they are saying that, oh, if you want masters in student affairs, you should have taken maybe one course in psychology, and you don't have any course in psychology, it means that you don't meet that particular requirement. And also, to all those who usually want to divert from one program to the other, I always advise that you also have a standby program. So if I'm the one applying for, maybe I have masters, like bachelor's in social studies, and maybe you said English, right, Eugenia? So I have,
Yes, please.
so if I have social studies and English, and I'm interested in international education, and I really want to enter the US in August 2026, it means that aside the international education program, I'll also write a different statement of purpose and try to apply for maybe programs related to English or others related to social studies. So if I want to apply for maybe 10 schools or 5 schools, about 3 of them might be international education, and then the other 2 may focus on the one that has my major and then maybe my minor discipline, with the goal that at least if this one does not work, the international education admission does not work, at least the other program might work, so that I will get the opportunity to enter the US. That way, if you don't get the admission, that, oh, I think maybe it's because of the discipline switch, that's why I did not get, you don't have to wait all the way for additional 1 year again. So at least you get a backup plan. That's what I mean, like a backup plan, which becomes the other program as well. Yeah. Dr. Fosti, you can take the other 2 questions. We'll end in the next 5 minutes time. So any question you can just send it in the chat. Or
Sorry, I was answering the questions in the text. Yes.
oh,
So back to, I'm trying to see, somebody asked the merits and merits of bringing your family, or if one wants to come with children. Okay. I That's that's a very specific, like, it's a value-based question. So I have 2 children. When I started, I didn't come with them. And when they eventually came to be with me, I hadn't planned for them to come. So when I had them, the year I had them, I struggled. I struggled the most. I will not lie. Money wise, time wise, even engagement wise was difficult. And the only reason was because I hadn't planned for them to come. And I didn't realize how, even though schooling is free, how expensive it is, even in terms of the extracurricular things they want to do, in terms of feeding, in terms of housing, in terms of childcare. So, one, depending on their age, it depends. One thing, when I have the opportunity to talk to any student who wants, international student who wants to bring their children, I say, if you have family back home, wherever you may be coming from, and they are willing to support you in the first year, even minimum, please take that help so that you can come, find your way around, and build community. That's the only thing. You even if you are coming into a place where you have siblings and friends, you cannot plan for the children as though those people are going to help you, because here everybody gets busy. But you want to build community so that if something is happening, you can call on Fosty and say, Fosty, can I bring my little ones to come and sit and have a presentation? I'll be back in an hour for them. Because here, childcare is no joke. You cannot leave children at home. You may get into trouble depending on their age, and there's so many things to think about, especially money wise. And for if you're an international too, you need to know, like, to get F2 for the kids, you need to show some level of money in your account. Me, even before I could invite them in my school, I needed to show at least $9,000 in my account before they will issue the F2. So Unless you have the funds. If you don't have the funds, if you want to add them to your initial F1, F2 process, you may feel overwhelmed in terms of money commitment. But if you plan to come to school, find your feet, which is always my recommendation if possible. Even in terms of housing, in your first year, you can share with somebody, then you can look for a place where you and your children or your family you can stay. But most of these things, it's hard to figure out when you are not in the space, when you do not know your ins and your outs. So I always recommend, and the children coming is a great experience, but it's not easy too. Culturally, emotionally, depending if you are a female coming to school, it's just you and your spouse is not coming, that's a different thing to manage. If you are a male, most of the time the males is just you, maybe 1 out of 1,000 you see with the kids. Mostly it's we the women, but if it's just you and the kids and they are young, it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's doable. I'm doing it. I've done it for the past 5 years by God's grace, but I was done with my coursework. For the first time, I had to drop 2 grad classes because I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up. And it had never happened to me. I had to give up going for conferences. I was glad I was engaged as a student before they came. I couldn't attend social events because I was so emotionally tired. Physically, emotionally, financially, everything was drained. So if you are bringing them, you need to make sure that you are ready for everything that comes, with it. So I say give yourself at least a year. If you have family to help back home, let them stay, come, settle, figure yourself out, know your ins and your outs before you bring the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Francisca, so if you're interested in masters in economics, you can check the University of Montana. I know that they have a lot of funds. And anyone interested in economics, environmental science, and then I think statistics, maths, and statistics, you can check University of Montana. We have a lot of funds for those programs. Econs is so easy. If your CGPA and experiences are good, you can easily get admission and also get funding and then join us at the University of Montana. And then the one who asks about publication, it's not all institutions that they require publication for PhD admission. There are some schools that they don't necessarily require that you should have published a paper. Publishing a paper is not easy. Sometimes you even start a PhD first year, second year, third year. It's still difficult to even get like publication unless you just want to do the the Yamazo kind of publication where everything goes. So just any journal, yeah, you just go ahead and publish with them. But no, if you are looking for any top tier journal publication, it's difficult. So they understand. So just check the requirements. And then for MFA Francisca, who is asking about the funding, it depends on the offer that you receive, just as Dr. Fosti said. For some, it will be a year, others will also be 2 years for the entire program. If you are coming for PhD, some funding will be for the entire 4 years, others might be year by year. But irrespective of how it is structured, remember that you have a CGPA requirement to maintain. For most schools, you are required to maintain minimum of 3.0 CGPA to keep your funding. If you fall below 3.3 CGP, 3.0 CGPA, your funding can be taken away. They can easily revoke your funding. So that's something to check as well. Last 2 questions and then we end the session for today. Any final question? Any last question?
Before the last question, I just want to also reiterate that, as Prof. Jima said earlier, and everything that has been said, honestly, is all the tools you need. So please read the frequently asked questions. A lot of these questions will be addressed there. Read. This process requires a lot of reading. read, and it's different. The experience or the requirements at Montana is totally different from Ohio University. So you don't assume that what pertains for Montana will be the same for Ohio University. Another thing that I would want to re-emphasize is that we all recommend that you're applying to more than one school. Make sure you are being intentional with your statement of purpose, and you're being critical in making sure there's a difference, right? Don't be submitting a general statement of purpose for all of them. Leave a certain portion in your statement of purpose where you address the specific program, so that for each one you are personalizing it. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to add in addition. Be very intentional, be diligent. And a lot of the things that you are asking, they are great questions, but most of these websites have also addressed those questions. So just putting a bit more of the work and do the reading too. But it's good to have resources as well. Thanks, Prof, for having me spontaneously.
Yeah,
This was
we
fun.
are so happy to have you. Any final words? I guess there are no question. So from my end, what I would say is that keep up with the good work, and then remember. I know that some of us we go to church, we have work and others, but remember that this is also a bigger opportunity. So make time for it. Make the time for it. We all are busy, but at least because this is something important for you, a bigger study abroad journey, you want to make time for it. Some of us, if we try to recount our past, our family background, and others, had it not be this study abroad journey, I'm sure that maybe by now things would have been totally scattered for me. Personally, on my personal experience, because I took students loan during my undergraduate level, after school I was kind of in a little bit a shaky moment. I was always thinking about the normal Ghanaian thinking pattern that, oh, graduate, get a job, get a woman, get married, and then pay my student loan. That's it. But then the study abroad opportunity came. I made a step, and I've never regretted. When I was done with my PhD, I had in mind that, oh, even if I'm not able to get a job and then I have to go back to Ghana, I'll return back to Ghana as someone with masters and PhD, that based on the exposure and the experiences, I could have opened my own businesses or start up something based on the little money that I was able to save through my summer internships that I had the opportunity to do. So these opportunities are greater opportunities. And I'm sure Dr. Fosti will equally say the same thing. If you are in Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, Cameroon, or any other part of Africa, this is an opportunity that you can take advantage of by making sure that you take advantage of these opportunities and make that bold step. And by making that bold step, there are so many opportunities and privileges that you can enjoy within the US. But it all depends on your commitment and your dedication. If the desire to travel abroad or US is there, because, oh, Charlie, me too, I want to travel. Oh, the country make what? Me too, I want to travel. That might be the desire or the interest. But once there is desire or interest and there is no commitment or there is no dedication, you are not even halfway closer to your vision or your goal. So in the addition to the interest, also add commitment and also dedication. And wherever you get stuck, always feel free to ask people. We have the WhatsApp page. I've posted the link on there. You can join if you are not yet on there. And if you have any question, you can always ask your questions. We usually do share resources on there. In October, we will organize another session. And that session will focus on working on your statement of purpose, your CV, and then all the other documents as well. It is the hope that next year by now we'll have more people joining us in the US and whether Canada, Germany, or other places as well, so that we can all enjoy, learn more, expand our knowledge, our finances, and then contribute towards making Africa a great place to live. Right. Dr. Fosti, any final words?
No, I think you said it all. We wish you all the very best. And as Dr. Boachi said earlier, don't be desperate. Just put in the work. Your desperation will not change anything. Actually, it will make you more frustrated. So trust the process, put in the work, keep faith alive, and stay connected with the resources you have. But we definitely wish you the very best with the process, okay? And keep trying. Don't give up too. Don't give up. If it doesn't work out, keep trying. Keep
Yep.
trying. One's gonna work out for sure, like it did
Mm.
for all of us. So keep trying.
So
All
Martin
right.
Luther King will say that whatever be the case, you must keep moving.
keep
If you need
keep
to
moving
crawl,
forward.
crawl. If
Yes.
you need to
That's
cheat,
my
cheat. If
favorite
you
quote.
need to jump, jump. Whatever be the case, you must never stop. You must always keep moving. Whether you need to crawl, chill, jump, or do any
Mhm.
other thing, you got to keep crawling. You try, it does not work, try again. Keep trying over and over. So
Mhm.
we're happy to have you all. This is where we'll end our session. I will be on the
This
line
is
for
my
maybe like
favorite
5 minutes. If anyone has any private question that a person would like to ask, you can go ahead and then ask as
Yes.
well.
I just posted